If you blinked, you missed it. A little girl in the cereal aisle, no more than 5, clutching a threadbare teddy bear, one arm wrapped tightly around the toy, the other lifted, slowly, quietly, palm facing out, thumb tucked in, fingers curling into a fist. It meant nothing to most people, but to those who knew, it meant everything. Bravo saw it first. The canine froze mid-stride, one paw slightly raised, body locked in perfect tension. Not fear, not aggression, just absolute focus. Officer Logan Rivera noticed instantly. After 5 years together, he didn't need Bravo to bark or growl. He only had to watch his posture. The dog was saying something. Logan paused his step near aisle 6 of the quiet Fairfield Market, just off Maple Street. It was a sleepy Tuesday morning in a town where the loudest things were the hum of fridges and the occasional cart squeal. The air smelled like baked bread and floor wax. Everything was normal except Bravo. Logan followed the dog's gaze. There she was, blonde, pale, wearing a faded pink hoodie with holes in the sleeves. Her eyes were wide but dull, as if seeing but not really there. And then the hand. The signal, again. Logan's pulse kicked. He'd been trained to recognize it. The silent hand gesture taught to children trapped in unsafe situations. Rarely seen in real time, almost always overlooked. He'd watched the training video 3 years ago, promised himself he wouldn't be the one to miss it. He wasn't about to break that promise. A tall man stood beside the girl, flipping a cereal box in his hands. Mid-30s maybe, clean jeans, tattooed forearms, a calm demeanor. His voice, when it came, was almost too level. "Come on, Em, pick something already." The girl didn't respond. She held the bear tighter, eyes dropping to the floor. Logan kept walking, but slower now. He glanced at Bravo. The dog's tail was stiff, ears pitched forward, eyes glued to the girl. Not the man. They passed the end cap of granola bars. Logan pretended to check price tags. Bravo stood beside him but didn't relax. Logan keyed his mic. "Dispatch, Officer Rivera. Standing by at Fairfield Market. Code 20, stand by for update." He let go of the mic before they could ask questions. This wasn't a call yet. Wasn't anything yet. But something in his chest had tightened, and Bravo was still locked in that silent, unblinking focus. At checkout, the man paid in cash. No eye contact with the cashier. The girl stayed silent, even as the elderly woman behind the counter smiled at her. "What a sweet bear you've got there, honey," the woman said gently. The girl blinked, just once, and her mouth twitched like she wanted to smile. Then the man placed a hand on her back. The light in her eyes vanished. Bravo let out a low, guttural sound, barely audible. But Logan caught it. That wasn't a growl, it was a warning. The pair walked toward the sliding doors. Logan didn't move to follow. Not yet. If he acted now, he had. Nothing. No crime. No physical harm. Just instincts. And a dog who never reacted unless there was a reason. Logan stood in place as the sedan pulled out of the lot. Bravo didn't move. Just stood at the glass, staring. Logan made his choice. They jogged to the cruiser. Bravo jumped into the front seat without command. Logan keyed the ignition. "We're not letting her vanish," he muttered. They followed at a distance, 3 car lengths behind, past the post office, through a yellow light. The sedan turned left onto a crumbling road near a cluster of aging apartment buildings. Sunset Oaks. Logan had been there before. Domestic complaints, noise calls, no arrests, just forgotten people living behind weather-beaten doors. The blue sedan parked in front of Unit 2A. Logan didn't pull in. He parked across the street at a gas station, scribbled down the license plate on a receipt. Unit 2A. No toys in the window. No movement. But behind a warped blind, just for a second, a small, pale face peeked out. And vanished. Bravo leaned forward in his seat, ears up, gaze locked on that exact window. Logan whispered, "You saw her too." Back at the precinct, the report sat half-written. No legal standing, no probable cause, just an observation, a gut feeling, and a dog with a flawless record of knowing before the humans did. That night, Logan sat at his kitchen table, reviewing body cam footage. Bravo lay curled up at the door. Click, pause, frame by frame. There it was, the hand. He hit pause again, zoomed, a small hand forming the signal in the cereal aisle. "You saw it first," he said quietly. Bravo lifted his head. And in that moment, Logan Rivera made a decision. He wasn't going to file it and move on. He wasn't going to wait for someone else to notice. That little girl had asked for help without saying a word. And Bravo had answered her. There had to be a way, even if the system wasn't ready. This time, they were going to make it see. Tomorrow, they were going back. The next morning came cloaked in a stubborn Oregon fog, clinging to every windshield and roadside like it had something to hide. Logan Rivera stood in his driveway, thermos in one hand, Bravo's leash in the other. He didn't need it. The leash, that is. Bravo never strayed, never had. They didn't talk much. Logan wasn't the talkative type. But even in silence, they understood each other. The kind of understanding forged not by routines, but by shared moments. Dangerous moments. Bravo wasn't just any K9. He wasn't bred for flashy shows or paraded at elementary schools. He was built for chaos, and had walked through it with Logan more times than he could count. Their first assignment together had been a border surveillance detail in New Mexico. Long nights, dry heat, a lot of dust and bad intel. On their third month in, a call came about a missing mother and child near the riverbanks. Flood warnings were already issued, and most units stayed back. Logan and Bravo went, in any way. It was Bravo who found them. Not with barking, not with noise, but with stillness. He'd stopped near a cluster of mesquite trees, tail straight, head high, and then sat. Logan followed his gaze and found the child's shoe half buried in mud. The next hour was a blur of wet clothes, a fading pulse, and CPR under pounding rain. They made it. Both of them. And from that day forward, Logan trusted Bravo more than most people he knew. Back then, Bravo had barked occasionally. Now, not so much. Somewhere between the second hurricane deployment and a mountain search and rescue in Colorado, the dog learned the power of economy. He didn't waste sound. He didn't need to. At the Fairfield Police Department, the other officers joked that Bravo was more detective than dog. Lieutenant Kendra Holt once said he had the eyes of a war poet and the patience of a monk. She wasn't far off. This morning, Logan walked into the squad room with Bravo at his side. A few heads turned, not because they were new. Logan had been in Fairfield for over a year, but because when Bravo came in with that kind of posture, people paid attention. Logan dropped his gear on the desk. Sergeant Dan Kessler leaned over the cubicle wall. "You look like you didn't sleep. Again?" Logan shrugged. "Didn't. Grocery store thing still bugging you?" Logan didn't answer, but the tightening of his jaw said enough. Kessler nodded slowly. "You think the girl's in trouble?" "I don't think. I know. I just don't have the piece that makes it official." He glanced down at Bravo, who was lying at his feet, eyes open, muscles relaxed but alert. Kessler lowered his voice. "That dog hasn't been wrong once. That's got to count for something." Logan exhaled. "It should." Bravo's ear twitched, catching a sound none of them could hear. Logan followed his gaze out the window. Nothing obvious, just traffic rolling by. But still he made a mental note. Later that afternoon, Logan reviewed Bravo's incident records. 8 years on duty, 0 false positives. He had tracked kidnapped hikers, located evidence under snow, found a buried cell phone that led to a confession, and once, during a flood in Louisiana, led 3 firefighters away from a collapsing levee seconds before it gave. There was one case, though, that stayed with Logan more than the rest: a gas leak in a residential building. Everyone evacuated except for one man, old, deaf, and asleep. Bravo had refused to leave the front of that apartment. Refused. He dug in, clawed at the door. Logan almost pulled him away by force, thinking it was just residual adrenaline from the chaos. But something in Bravo's eyes gave him pause. He opened the door. The man was slumped in his recliner, unconscious. They got him out just in time. Logan didn't sleep for days after that, not because of what could have happened, but because of what almost did, because he nearly overrode the one creature who had never been wrong. Logan thought about that now as he stared at Unit 2A from across the street. He was back. This time, not in uniform. No patrol car, no partner, just a man with his dog, leaning against a beat-up Toyota in the gas station lot. Bravo sat quietly in the passenger seat, his body still but tense, eyes locked on the second-floor window of that apartment. "She's in there," Logan muttered. Bravo didn't move. The apartment lights remained off. Suddenly the front door opened. The man from the store, Travis Dawn, stepped out. Logan snapped upright, heart ticking faster. He looked normal enough. Grey hoodie, gym shorts, headphones in, carrying a trash bag like any other guy on a lazy afternoon. But Bravo sat up straighter. Logan watched as Travis tossed the bag into the dumpster and lit a cigarette, glancing around the lot like he was checking weather, not people. Then he turned and headed back upstairs. Logan whispered, "Let's move." They crossed the street, staying low along the parked cars. Logan stayed behind the hedge just beneath the stairwell. Bravo stopped. He didn't bark. He didn't growl. He stepped forward, nose to the ground, then looked up toward the window. Then he sat. Logan's stomach turned. That's what he did the night of the gas leak. Back home that evening, Logan poured a drink and stood in the kitchen, staring at a photo stuck to his fridge. It was an old shot from their border deployment: dusty vests, sunburnt cheeks, Bravo with his tongue out, looking impossibly proud. He remembered something then. A phrase his old field commander once said after Bravo found a teenage girl buried under debris in a collapsed motel. "That dog doesn't bark to be heard. He barks when the world's not listening." Logan looked down. Bravo lay curled at his feet, eyes half closed but still alert. "You heard her?" he whispered. Bravo thumped his tail once. They both knew this wasn't over. It was just beginning. Emily. That was her name. Logan hadn't heard it directly, but he'd seen it stitched in faded pink thread on the tiny backpack she clutched like a life raft. Just below the strap, half obscured by the fur of her teddy bear, the name curved in blocky kindergarten letters. He was parked again near Sunset Oaks, this time in an unmarked city vehicle. No lights, no decals. He wasn't officially on duty. But Bravo was in the passenger seat, as always, watching the second-floor window like it might blink. It was late afternoon. The heat was starting to break, and shadows stretched longer across the lot. Bravo hadn't moved in 10 minutes. Logan didn't tell him to stay. He didn't need to. The front door of Unit 2A opened. Logan tensed, instinct kicking in faster than thought. Travis Dawn emerged with Emily at his side. The girl's tiny hand held his loosely, almost limply, her steps hesitant. She wore the same hoodie as before, and the same bear dangled from one arm, one button eye staring straight ahead. They moved slowly across the lot, toward the laundromat next door. Logan started the car and pulled into a spot 2 doors down. He kept the window down. Bravo sat up straighter. At the entrance, Travis paused to check his phone. Emily didn't move. Her face turned toward the vending machine inside, but her eyes were glassy, empty. Logan had seen that expression before. On storm victims, on abandoned dogs in cages, on kids who had learned the world doesn't always rescue you when it should. Inside the laundromat, Travis dumped a small bag of clothes into a top loader, then sat down with his phone. He scrolled. She sat. Still. 20 minutes passed. Logan didn't leave. He watched as the man tossed clothes into the dryer, completely ignoring the child beside him. Emily hadn't spoken, hadn't played, hadn't once let go of the bear. Bravo shifted. A subtle, low sound came from him, a rumble like distant thunder. Not loud enough to draw attention, but unmistakable to Logan. "You're picking something up," he said under his breath. He opened the glove compartment and pulled out a small camera. A personal one? Not department issue. He got out of the car and walked toward the laundromat. Casual pace, civilian mode. Bravo stayed behind, watching from the seat. Inside, Logan grabbed a bottle of soda from the machine and turned slightly, just enough to glance at the girl without staring. Emily didn't look back, but her grip tightened on the bear. Then it happened again. The hand. Palm up, thumb tucked, fingers curled over, slow, shaky. The signal. Logan's throat tightened. Travis didn't see it. He was too absorbed in whatever was on his screen. Logan turned, walked out, and climbed into the car, exhaling like he hadn't realized he was holding his breath. "She did it again," he said to Bravo. Bravo let out one short breath and stared straight ahead. They waited until Travis finished folding clothes and took Emily back toward the apartment. As they disappeared into Unit 2A, Logan spoke quietly. "You don't fake fear like that. Not at that age." Back at the station, Logan brought it to his supervisor. Sergeant Donahue was a practical man, smart but by the book. He tapped his pen as Logan laid out the observation. The gesture, the silence, the behavior. Donahue leaned back. "You're sure she made the signal?" "I watched her do it, twice, and Bravo picked up on her before I did." Donahue nodded, slowly. "And the man, Dawn, anything suspicious on record?" "Nothing criminal. Worked at a mechanic's shop 2 towns over. Took medical leave last year, lives alone. No priors." "Do we know if he's her father?" "No record of birth, no school enrollment under her name yet. I only have what I've seen." Donahue folded his hands. "You know what I'm going to say." "I do, and I don't care." Donahue cracked a thin smile. "I've seen you this stubborn before. Bravo usually backs you up, when you're right." Logan didn't smile back. "He always backs me up. That's the problem." Later that night, Logan sat at home on the edge of his couch. Bravo lay at his feet, head on his paws, eyes tracking the shadows in the corners of the room. Logan stared at the still frame from his camera. A blurry shot, but clear enough. A tiny hand making a silent plea. He pulled a sticky note from the side table and wrote one word in all caps. "Watch." He slapped it on the fridge, right below Bravo's certification medal. The next day, Logan took the long route on patrol. He parked 3 blocks away from Sunset Oaks and approached on foot. In the distance, he saw Travis stepping out to smoke. No sign of Emily. He circled behind the building, pretending to be on routine inspection. As he neared the dumpster, Bravo stopped, sniffed, turned his head toward the far end of the alley. Logan followed his line of sight. There, crumpled beneath a soda can and a broken hanger, was a torn drawing. Child's crayon on scrap paper. A stick figure girl with yellow hair holding a bear. Beside her, a large figure drawn in thick red lines, with angry black eyes and jagged arms towering overhead. He picked it up carefully with a pen. Bravo let out a low whine. Logan didn't say anything. He didn't have to. Now he had something. Not enough for arrest, not yet. But a sign. The first real sign. A girl, a bear, and a silence that screamed louder than any words. The photo was wrinkled, edges curled and stained with what looked like motor oil, but the drawing told the story. Logan sat at his desk, the paper spread out under a desk lamp in the corner of the precinct. Next to it, a printed still from his camera, the small hand gesture. Bravo lay just beneath the desk, motionless except for the occasional flick of his tail. Sergeant Donahue leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, face unreadable. That's a serious accusation, Logan. It's not an accusation. Not yet. It's a warning sign, and Bravo's been locked in since the first minute. Donahue stepped inside, folding his arms. Let me be clear. You've got no official complaint, no witness statement, no report of abuse. A blurry hand signal and a child's drawing in the trash don't give us enough to go knocking on doors. Logan didn't respond right away. He tapped his finger on the drawing. I'm not asking to bust down a door. I just want a welfare check. Just eyes on. Protocol says we route it through child services. They're already 2 weeks behind on casework. And that's if it even gets flagged as actionable. Logan clenched his jaw. She's not going to last 2 weeks. Donahue's tone softened slightly. You've got instincts, and I respect that. You and Bravo both. But you're in Fairfield now, not back in the field. You follow procedure. Logan stood up, pocketed the drawing. I'll follow it, he said, voice tight. But I'm not ignoring it. Donahue raised an eyebrow. Meaning? Meaning I'll stay within the lines. But I'm not looking away. That night, Logan didn't sleep. He sat on his porch, the scent of pine and distant rain clinging to the early October air. Bravo sat at his feet, ears alert, gaze fixed on the tree line like something might emerge. But Logan knew where his mind was. Not in the woods. In that second-story window of Unit 2A. We're doing this quiet, Logan murmured. But we're doing it. Bravo didn't move, but his head turned toward Logan slightly, as if he understood every word. The next morning, Logan clocked in early. Civilian clothes, no radio chatter. He drove the long way to Sunset Oaks, parking 4 blocks down. Bravo wore a plain collar today. No vest, no indication he was on duty. They walked slowly, just a man and his dog. As they passed the lot, Logan kept his eyes forward. But Bravo stopped. The dog's body stiffened, not tense, but anchored. He stared again at Unit 2A. Not the door, the window. The same window Emily had peeked through. There was no movement inside. But Bravo stayed rooted. Logan placed a hand on his head. I see it too, he whispered. Across the lot, a door slammed. Logan turned sharply. It wasn't Travis. It was an elderly woman dragging a trash bin. Logan exhaled, tried to steady himself. He couldn't afford to jump at every shadow. But something wasn't right. Back at the precinct, he pulled property records. Travis Dawn, former mechanic, partial disability payout after a workplace injury. No formal custody paperwork for Emily. No school enrollment in the district. Not even a pediatrician listed. Logan ran the name Emily Dawn. Nothing. Then tried Emily Monroe. There it was. A single note buried in a neighboring county's intake list. A woman named Karen Monroe, reported missing 6 weeks ago. Fled a domestic violence shelter. Child with her at time of departure. No further updates. Logan leaned back in his chair, stomach turning. He printed the sheet and stared at the names. Travis Dawn wasn't listed anywhere. No relation, no mention. And yet he had custody of a girl with no known family connection. Living in a town where no one asked questions. This changed everything. He took it straight to Donahue. The sergeant read it, expression tight. That's enough to request a soft welfare check through channels, not a forced entry, not a takedown, just a visit. Then let's do it. Donahue nodded. I'll get it in motion. but it won't be today. Paperwork has to move. Logan hesitated, then turned back to the door. Just don't wait too long. That evening, Logan and Bravo returned to Sunset Oaks. Same spot, same time. They didn't approach the building, just watched. Lights flicked on upstairs. A silhouette crossed the window. Tall. Male. Travis. No sign of Emily. Bravo sat again. Ears forward. Eyes locked. Logan felt the tension rise in his chest. He looked down at the dog. Still locked on. Bravo didn't blink. Suddenly, a car pulled into the lot. Logan tensed, but it was just another tenant. A young mother with 2 kids, arms full of groceries. She didn't look up. But as they disappeared into their own unit, Logan saw something. In the window of 2A, a shadow, small, holding something. Then the light snapped off. Bravo stood, his tail straightened. A deep, low noise vibrated from his chest. Not loud, but charged. Logan whispered, "We wait." But not forever. He pulled out his phone, sent a text to a name saved under RV-Welfare Services. Need eyes, fast, quiet. Let me know if you're in. He looked at Bravo. We're not breaking the rules, but we're not backing down either. Bravo didn't wag, didn't bark, but he didn't look away. Not once. It was still dark when Logan parked down the block from Sunset Oaks. He'd killed the headlights 2 turns ago, rolling the unmarked car into place without a sound. The neighborhood was still. No dogs barking, no TVs flickering in windows, just the quiet hum of the world holding its breath. Bravo sat upright in the passenger seat, every muscle alive beneath his coat. Not tense, just ready. Logan had learned long ago to trust that posture more than most human words. They waited 10 minutes. Nothing. Another 5. Then movement. A door opened on the 2nd floor. Travis Dawn stepped out of Unit 2A, pulling the door shut behind him. He wore a grey hoodie and faded jeans, a grocery bag in one hand. No child in sight. "Stay low," Logan whispered. They moved. Bravo led the way, his steps nearly silent across the cracked pavement. They crossed behind the building, cutting through an overgrown strip of grass and rusted fencing. Logan kept one eye on the stairwell where Travis had vanished. Then Bravo stopped, right at the dumpster. Not a dramatic halt, not a bark, just a sudden shift of focus. Nose lifted slightly, front paw raised, hovering. A stillness that spoke louder than sirens. Logan moved in beside him and lifted the dented metal lid with a pen from his back pocket. The smell was rank. Old takeout, diapers, something sour. But Bravo didn't flinch. His eyes locked on a torn piece of paper wedged beneath a crushed energy drink can. Logan reached for it carefully. It was a drawing, child's crayon. Bold, frantic strokes. A stick figure girl with yellow hair and a teddy bear, standing in what looked like a box. No door, no windows. Next to her, another figure. Massive. Red eyes, scribbled teeth. A dark scribble over the heart, like the child had tried to erase it but couldn't. Logan turned the page over. No name. But the art spoke for itself. He looked at Bravo. "You found it." The dog stared back, unblinking. They moved fast after that, circling to the front before Travis returned. No light in the window, no movement behind the curtains, no sign of Emily. Back in the car, Logan snapped a photo of the drawing and sent it to her. His contact, Rachel Vu. Then he waited. The reply came 8 minutes later. "Rachel, that's a trauma drawing. No doubt. Boxed-in figure, distorted adult, suppression marks. That child's in distress, Logan. Bad." Logan, "She's isolated. No school records, no confirmed parent." Rachel, "I'll pull strings. Quiet visit. Give me 24 hours. Logan stared at the screen for a long second, then lowered it. Bravo's nose was pressed against the window, eyes scanning the upstairs unit. I know, bud, Logan said quietly. We're close. They stopped by the laundromat on the way back. Logan needed a coffee, and Bravo needed a reset. Routine helped them both think. As the door jingled, two elderly women turned from their bench near the dryers. One of them, short and round with sharp eyes behind thick lenses, leaned forward. Well, would you look at that? She said, nudging her companion. That's the dog I saw last week. Logan glanced over, friendly but cautious. You saw him? He was out front. The woman said, watching that man. Tall guy, shifty, had that little girl with him. Logan's interest sharpened. Little girl? Pink hoodie? That's the one, the second woman said, setting down her cup. Didn't say a word, just sat there like a statue, hugging that stuffed animal like her life depended on it. The first woman shook her head. Kids don't sit like that, not unless something's real wrong. Did he speak to her? Barely. Didn't even look at her half the time, like she wasn't there. Logan sat on the edge of the bench, pulling out his notebook. Do you remember what day this was? Tuesday, one replied. We come here every Tuesday, fold sheets and gossip. They smiled, then sobered. She looked scared. We didn't want to pry, but you see enough kids, you know. Logan scribbled notes, nodding. Thank you, he said sincerely. You may have just helped a lot more than you think. He bought them coffee on the way out. Back in the car, Bravo sniffed the edges of Logan's coat and gave a soft huff. Logan ran a hand through the dog's fur. She's not invisible anymore, he said. That night, Logan spread everything across his kitchen table. The photo of the drawing, the eyewitness accounts, the behavior notes, the blurry body cam still of the signal. All small things, but together they formed a pattern. He looked down at Bravo, who had curled at the base of the table, eyes watching the front door like always. We build the case, bit by bit. He tapped the drawing gently. This is where it starts. Bravo didn't move, but his tail tapped the floor once, quiet, measured, like an agreement. Rachel Vu didn't knock like a cop. She knocked like a neighbor, firm, respectful, not loud enough to draw attention, but just enough to make sure whoever was inside couldn't pretend they hadn't heard. Logan watched from across the parking lot, tucked inside a nondescript city vehicle with Bravo sitting alert in the back seat. The dog's ears were forward, his body leaning subtly toward the apartment, like he could feel the tension through the glass. Rachel wore plain khakis and a soft blue cardigan, clipboard in hand, hair pulled back into a practical knot. From a distance, she looked like what she was pretending to be, a welfare services worker conducting routine check-ins. Inside that clipboard, though, was a court-authorized welfare inquiry built on every small piece Logan had collected. The drawing, the witness statements, the signal. Rachel had pulled strings, quiet ones, and moved fast. Not easy in a system that moved like molasses. The door creaked open. Travis Dawn appeared in the frame, expression tight, eyes flicking down to Rachel's ID badge. What's this about? He asked. Rachel's voice was smooth, neutral. Mr. Dawn, I'm with the County Welfare Services. We're conducting routine follow-ups based on regional wellness protocols. I just need a few minutes of your time. She's fine, he muttered. I'm sure she is, Rachel said with a practiced smile. But I do need to lay eyes on the child. Just protocol. Won't take long. From where Logan sat, he could see Travis hesitate. The man looked over his shoulder into the apartment, then back at Rachel. She's napping. Perfect. I'll be brief and quiet. Another pause. Then the door opened wider. Rachel stepped inside. Logan held his breath. Beside him, Bravo shifted again. His body wasn't tense, but watchful, like he was waiting for a cue only he would recognize. Inside, the apartment was sparse. Rachel noted everything as she stepped through. No toys, no books, no signs of child personalization. The air was still, not stale, but quiet in a way that suggested routine silence. Travis hovered near the kitchenette. His hands were shoved into his pockets. Defensive, closed off. Would you mind calling her out? She doesn't like strangers. Rachel nodded slowly, keeping her tone casual. What's her name again? Emily, he replied after a beat. You're her father? Number A family friend. Her mother asked me to watch her for a few weeks. She had to leave town. Rachel made a note, then looked up. How long has she been with you? Couple weeks. No contact from the mother since? Not really. Rachel tilted her head. And do you have documentation? Any temporary guardianship agreement? Medical release? Travis exhaled. She left in a hurry. It wasn't formal. That's understandable. Still, I'll need to see the child briefly. Another long pause. Then he turned and walked to the closed bedroom door. Emily, he called. Come out. Someone needs to talk to you. No response. Rachel heard the shuffle of small feet. Then, slowly, the door opened. Emily stepped out, still holding her bear. Her hair was uncombed, her sleeves too long. She didn't speak, didn't look up. Rachel knelt to her level, staying at a soft distance. Hi, Emily. My name is Rachel. I work with kids. I make sure they're safe and have what they need. Can I ask how you're doing? Emily clutched the bear tighter. Her mouth didn't move. Rachel continued gently. Do you feel okay here? A long silence, then a small shake of the head. Travis moved to interject. She's just shy. Rachel didn't look up. Has anything scared you recently, Emily? Another small shake. Then, unexpectedly, Emily whispered one word. Bear. Rachel leaned closer. Your bear. Emily nodded. He knows. Rachel swallowed. Her hands remained steady, but her chest tightened. She'd seen this before, the projection, kids saying what they can't say through something they trust. What does he know, sweetie? Emily's voice was a whisper so faint it barely registered. He says, she's not coming back. Outside, Bravo suddenly rose from his seated posture. Logan saw it. A subtle but precise movement. He reached for the radio but paused. Not yet. Inside, Rachel slowly stood. Thank you, Emily. That helps a lot. Can I talk to your bear for just a second? Emily blinked, then slowly extended the stuffed animal. Rachel took it gently. She leaned in, whispered, We're going to help her, okay? Then she handed the bear back. Emily held it tightly, like the exchange had sealed something inside her. Rachel turned to Travis, keeping her tone even. Thank you for your time. I'll be filing this as a completed welfare check, but someone will follow up soon. Just standard procedure. Travis nodded, but didn't look relieved. He looked like a man trying to do mental math and losing track of the numbers. Back in the car, Rachel closed the door and exhaled. She's not bruised. She's not physically harmed, but she's not okay. That girl is being emotionally isolated and psychologically managed. Logan stared ahead, hands on the wheel. Enough to remove her? Not yet. But we're close. She trusts the bear more than herself. That's classic trauma behavior. I can file for an emergency evaluation. What about him? He's nervous, defensive, but calm. Too calm. Like he knows exactly how far the line is. Bravo let out a soft whine behind them. Rachel glanced back. He's ready, isn't he? Logan nodded. He knew before we did. She looked at him. We go formal tomorrow. Logan gripped the wheel tighter. She's waiting, he said. Bravo's eyes didn't leave the window, and somewhere behind the glass, Emily clutched a bear tighter than ever. The morning air was unusually still. Even the birds outside Sunset Oaks seemed to know something was about to shift. Logan stepped out of the cruiser, court order tucked neatly in a folder under his arm. Rachel walked beside him, her expression unreadable, lips pressed into a firm, unshaking line. Behind them, Bravo moved with silent precision, every muscle attuned, every breath deliberate. They climbed the stairs to Unit 2A, the creak of each step louder than it should have been. At the door, Rachel took the lead. She didn't knock softly this time. "Mr. Dawn," she called out. "Rachel Vu, County Welfare Services. We're here under court authority for an emergency wellness check." Inside, a beat of silence. Then movement. A pause. And finally, the clatter of a chain being unlatched. Travis Dawn opened the door 2 inches, face pale, eyes darting behind them towards the lot. He looked like a man trying to find a way out without running. Rachel held up the paperwork. "We're not here to argue. We're here because the child in your care has no legal documentation, no contact with her mother, and signs of emotional trauma. I need to see Emily. Now." Travis rubbed his face once, then stepped back. "She's asleep." Rachel didn't flinch. "Then we'll wake her. Gently." Logan entered first. Bravo followed. The air in the apartment was heavy, stagnant, like time had been suspended inside. The same bare furniture, the same silence. Logan scanned the room quickly. No toys, no photos, no color. Bravo didn't need direction. The dog moved immediately toward the back hallway, stopping at a closed door. His posture shifted, shoulders squared, head tilted, tail straight as an arrow behind him. He was waiting. Travis hung back near the kitchen, arms crossed. Logan kept one eye on him, but his focus was on Bravo. Rachel stepped toward the bedroom. "Emily?" she said gently. "It's Miss Rachel. Remember me. I'd like to talk to you, sweetheart." Nothing. Rachel knocked softly, then opened the door. Inside, Emily sat on the edge of the mattress, bare clutched to her chest, back straight, eyes wide. She hadn't been asleep. Her shoes were still on. She was waiting. The moment Bravo stepped into the room, everything changed. Emily's breath hitched, her fingers tightened on the bear. Her chin trembled, but she didn't cry out. Bravo stood still, just inside the doorway. Then slowly he lowered himself to the floor. His eyes stayed on hers. A moment passed, then another. And then quietly, the tears came. Silent, unchecked, slipping down Emily's cheeks like something long damned finally broke. No scream, no protest, just a girl realizing someone had truly seen her. Rachel knelt beside her. "Emily, we're going to take you somewhere safe, just for a little while, okay?" Emily nodded, just once. Then wiped her nose on the bear's ear. Behind them, Travis sighed heavily, slumping against the wall. "She wasn't supposed to be here this long," he muttered. "Her mum, she said it was temporary. I didn't hurt her." "No one said you did," Logan replied calmly. "But she needed more than you could give, and now we're making sure she gets that." Travis didn't fight. He didn't raise his ahana voice. He just looked tired, like a man who knew the end of the story before it was told. Rachel helped Emily to her feet. The girl didn't let go of the bear. As they moved toward the door, she turned to Bravo. Then, with small hands, she reached down and touched his head. "You came back," she whispered. Bravo stayed still. His eyes softened. He didn't wag, didn't lick, just blinked slowly as if to say, "I was always coming back." Logan watched it all in silence. His throat thickened. Outside, the wind began to stir again. Leaves scraped along the sidewalk as they walked Emily to the car. No sirens, no drama, just a quiet rescue. Just one girl who had dared to send a signal, and the dog who had answered it. Logan held the door open as Rachel helped Emily climb in. Bravo settled in the back seat beside her, resting his head on the space between the seats. Emily leaned into him, still crying. But now it sounded different. Not fear. Relief. The temporary foster home sat at the edge of a quiet cul-de-sac, nestled between a weathered mailbox and a swing set missing one seat. It wasn't perfect, but it was safe. And for now, that was enough. Rachel stood in the living room, clipboard in hand, as Emily sat cross-legged on the carpet, colouring with slow, deliberate strokes. She hadn't spoken much in the last 24 hours. But she ate. She slept. She didn't flinch when someone walked past her. That was progress. Across the room, Bravo lay quietly, head resting on his paws, watching her. He hadn't left her side since the handoff. Not once. Rachel crouched beside her. "What are you drawing?" Emily didn't answer, but she tilted the paper slightly so Rachel could see. It was a crayon picture. The lines were shaky, but clear. A big dog, a girl with a bear, a tall figure in blue, and next to them, words spelled in crooked block letters. "Thank you for seeing me." Rachel felt her throat close. She was about to speak when her phone buzzed. She stood, stepping into the kitchen to answer. "Rachel Vu," she said quietly. "This is Dana with Crosswind Shelter in Eastport." The voice on the other end replied. "We believe we have someone connected to your case. Woman came in late last night. Said her name was Karen Monroe." Rachel's heart jumped. Did she have paperwork? No ID, but she mentioned a daughter named Emily. Said she left her with a friend for safety and has been trying to get back to her. Rachel grabbed her keys from the counter. "Keep her there. I'm on my way." Logan met her outside the shelter an hour later. The building was small, tucked behind a church, nearly invisible from the main road. There was nothing welcoming about the exterior, but inside it smelled like oatmeal and lemon cleaner. Karen Monroe sat in the back office, clutching a warm mug of tea with trembling hands. She was thin, with tired eyes and a fading bruise along her jawline. Her clothes were clean, but borrowed. She looked like someone who had been running without a finish line. Rachel introduced herself softly. "Karen, I'm here about Emily." At the sound of her daughter's name, Karen's eyes filled instantly. "Is she okay? Please. I've been trying. Every day I wanted to go back, but I didn't know how. He said if I even tried, he'd find her. He knew people." Logan stepped forward. "You left her with Travis Dawn?" Karen nodded, guilt spilling across her face. "He was the only one I trusted. He never hurt her. He used to live next door. He helped me once, after one of the bad nights. I thought it would just be for a few days. I thought I'd come right back." "Why didn't you?" Karen blinked fast. "I was being followed. I kept changing shelters, used burner phones. Every time I got close, I saw his truck. I thought he was watching me, waiting for me to lead him to her." Rachel placed a gentle hand on her arm. "You made a choice to protect her. And she's safe now, but it's time to bring her back to you." Karen broke. The mug slipped from her hands, tea spilling across the floor as she crumpled into herself, crying with a kind of pain only mothers know. Not grief, not loss, relief. Back in Fairfield, Emily sat in the foster home's front room, her small hands still wrapped around Mr. Bear as Logan crouched beside her. He smiled gently. "We found someone." Emily tilted her head. "Do you remember your mum's name?" Her voice came out small, fragile. "Karen. That's right." Rachel said from behind him. "She's okay. She's been looking for you." Emily's fingers tightened around the bear's paw. "She's really coming?" Logan nodded. "She's coming right now." The reunion was quiet. No crowds, no cameras, no declarations. Just a woman walking through the front door, and a little girl dropping everything and running into her mother's arms so fast the bear hit the floor. Karen dropped to her knees, catching Emily mid-run. "I'm here, baby. I'm here. I'm sorry I took so long." Emily buried her face in her mother's sweater, sobbing without sound. Karen held her like she might never let go again. Rachel stepped back. Logan did too, but Bravo remained where he was, just at the edge of the room. Emily noticed. She pulled back from her mom and looked at the dog. "Bravo?" He walked over slowly. Emily crouched, wrapped her arms around his neck. "You found me," she whispered. "You saw me." Later that night, after the paperwork was signed, the temporary arrangements confirmed, and the shelter secured for both mother and child, Logan returned home. He kicked off his boots, dropped his keys, and stood in front of the fridge. There, pinned between a grocery list and Bravo's vet schedule, was the sticky note he'd written days ago. "Watch!" He didn't take it down, but he added something next to it. A new drawing, crayon on white printer paper. Bravo. Emily, badge. And in wobbly blue letters, "She's home now?" Logan looked down at Bravo, who had settled in his usual spot beneath the window. "You did good, partner," he said. Bravo didn't move, but his tail swept once across the floor. Just once, just enough. And outside, across town, a little girl slept soundly for the first time in a long while. This time, her bear was beside her. And so was her mother. The conference room in the community center smelled faintly of crayons, dry erase markers, and something warm from the cafeteria down the hall. It was Wednesday afternoon, and the chairs were arranged in a soft semicircle around a worn rug patterned with faded cartoon animals. On the far end, Bravo lay still on his side, eyes open, ears relaxed, tail resting gently across his paws. He wasn't working, not officially, but that never mattered to Bravo. Rachel moved between the chairs, greeting each child by name. They trickled in slowly, some clutching toys, others with their heads down, shoulders hunched under invisible weight. This was Trauma Group. Kids pulled from difficult homes, some in foster care, others in shelters, all living with the aftershocks of what they'd survived. Logan stood just inside the doorway, not part of the session but present. It had been his idea to bring Bravo. Not for show, not for therapy games, just to be there. Rachel had said yes before he finished the sentence. "You don't have to talk," Rachel reminded the group gently. "You can just sit or draw or pet Bravo if you want to." A boy with a lightning bolt shaved into his hair glanced up. "Is he safe?" Rachel nodded. "He's trained, calm, and he never pushes. He'll wait for you." The boy gave a skeptical look, but Bravo didn't move. The first to approach him was a girl named Tessa, 8 years old, placed in care after a neglect case. She didn't speak in full sentences anymore, just murmured to her stuffed rabbit. She crouched slowly beside Bravo, watching for a twitch or growl. Bravo blinked. That was all. Tessa reached out, placed her hand on his shoulder. He didn't flinch. Rachel watched from the edge of the circle, catching Logan's eye. He gave a slight nod. It worked. Not because of training drills or therapy certifications, but because Bravo understood the language of stillness, the value of waiting, the art of presence. The boy with the lightning bolt joined Tessa 10 minutes later. He didn't pet Bravo, but he sat next to him, cross-legged, fiddling with a shoelace and glancing sideways every so often. Bravo didn't acknowledge him, and that was enough. After the session, Rachel pulled Logan aside. "I've seen therapy dogs," she said, "but I've never seen one listen like him." Logan looked over to where Bravo now stood, gently nudging his head beneath Tessa's hand as she laughed softly. "He doesn't wait for cues, he just reads people." Rachel tapped her clipboard. "We could use him. On the regular. Not just for show and tell, for real impact." Logan hesitated. He's not retired yet. Rachel smiled. That dog never will be. That night, Logan walked Bravo through the quiet streets near the elementary school. The town had shifted lately. More eyes open, more people asking questions instead of brushing past things that didn't feel right. They reached the park near the creek. Empty benches, swings still. Bravo stopped. Logan turned. What is it? Bravo's head tilted. He stared toward a small figure seated on the edge of the slide. Logan followed his gaze. A girl, maybe 6, alone, legs swinging, no adult in sight. Logan's heart tightened. Stay, he whispered. He approached slowly. Hey there, he called out gently. Everything okay? The girl didn't run. She looked up, expression unreadable. I'm waiting for my grandma, she said. Is she nearby? She nodded. Went to get the keys. She forgot them at home. Logan scanned the lot. No vehicles. No adults. Bravo sat still by the path, eyes on her. You want to sit with the dog while I wait with you? Logan asked. She paused, then nodded. I like dogs. He gestured to Bravo. He's a good listener. She walked over, small feet crunching gravel, and sat beside Bravo. He didn't move. She reached out, touched his ear. My dad yelled at me today. I think I made him mad. Logan crouched nearby, eyes soft. Did something happen? She looked down. He threw stuff. Grandma said it's not my fault. It's not. She didn't say more, but Bravo leaned into her leg, just enough to let her know he was there. 10 minutes later, an elderly woman rushed into the park, breathless and apologetic. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. The girl stood up and ran to her, wrapping thin arms around her waist. Logan gave the woman a quiet nod. She blinked, confused but thankful. As they walked away, the girl turned. Thank you, she said. Logan nodded. He's the one who saw you. Bravo stared after her for a long moment. Then finally he stood, gave a shake, and resumed his place at Logan's side. They walked home in silence. Logan knew Bravo wasn't wired to rest, not in the traditional sense. His rest came in the form of connection. A quiet presence beside a child too afraid to speak. A still body waiting at the edge of fear until the door opened again. Sometimes you didn't need sirens. Sometimes all it took was a dog who knew when to stop, and a man willing to stop with him. The late morning sun filtered through the chain-link fence surrounding Lincoln Elementary, casting dappled shadows across the cracked sidewalk and scattered mulch. School was letting out early for teacher planning, and kids spilled into the yard like floodwater, all shouts and backpacks and swinging lunchboxes. Logan leaned against his cruiser, sipping lukewarm coffee. Bravo sat beside him, head high, eyes scanning the playground. It was supposed to be a routine safety patrol, visibility, reassurance, nothing more. But Bravo didn't do routine. His body stilled. 1 second he was observing. The next he was locked in place. Not tense, not alert like for a threat, just still. Logan lowered the coffee. What do you see? Bravo didn't respond. Didn't need to. Logan followed his gaze to the far corner of the yard, where a small girl stood by herself, pressed against the fence. Her backpack hung low, dragging one strap on the ground. She wasn't crying. She wasn't moving, just watching. And then her hand rose, palm out, thumb tucked, fingers closed over it. The same signal, the same whisper of desperation pretending to be stillness. Logan's breath caught. He moved. Not running, not rushing, just walking with purpose, the way he had so many times now. Bravo followed at his side, every step measured. As they approached, the girl didn't flinch. Her eyes flicked to Bravo, then to Logan. Hi, Logan said softly, crouching so his face was level with hers. My name's Officer Rivera, this is Bravo. He's kind of an expert in seeing things most people don't. She didn't answer. but her eyes shimmered. "Are you okay?" he asked, a tiny shake of the head. "Is someone supposed to pick you up?" She nodded, but not like she believed it. "Do you feel safe waiting here alone?" This time, no movement. Logan looked at Bravo. The dog was seated beside the girl now, close enough for comfort, but not pressing into her space. The girl whispered, "He stopped yelling this morning, but he'll start again later." "Who will?" She hesitated, then said, "Mom's boyfriend." That was enough. Logan radioed it in. A welfare officer was dispatched. The school staff arrived a few minutes later. The girl didn't say much, but when the social worker arrived, she let go of her backpack and sat beside Bravo on the grass. He didn't move. She reached out and touched his neck. "He's warm," she whispered. Logan knelt beside her. "He listens. That's kind of his thing." Later, as the girl was taken to safety and the school returned to its rhythm, Logan and Bravo stood by the fence a moment longer. Another child, another moment that almost slipped away. Back at the station, Logan updated the case file. No grand report, no spotlight. Just a simple note. Observed K9 response to repeated silent distress signal. Intervention successful. Child safe. He stared at the screen, thinking of all the times he nearly didn't stop. All the moments that had depended not on flashing lights or shouted orders, but on one dog's refusal to look away. That evening, the sun sank low over Fairfield, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet. Logan stood in his driveway, watching Bravo lay at the edge of the porch, head up, ears perked towards the street. Still listening, still working. "You never clock out, do you?" Logan asked. Bravo's tail tapped twice. The car had. Next morning, at the therapy center, Rachel handed Logan a new drawing left behind by a different child. It showed a girl with short hair and wide eyes, holding hands with a tall man in a badge. Beside them, a big dog with bright eyes and calm posture. Above them, in block letters, "He saw me too." Logan pinned it to the wall next to the others. A growing gallery of silent thank yous. As he clipped Bravo's vest for another day on patrol, he looked the dog square in the eye. "We're not done, are we?" Bravo blinked once. No bark, no sound, just a knowing stillness. They stepped outside into the rising light. Because some heroes don't shout, some heroes don't speak at all, some just stop, some just listen. And in doing so, they change everything. If you believe in the power of animals to see what humans sometimes miss, and you want to hear more real, emotional stories like this one, don't forget to follow and support our channel German Shepherd. This is where loyalty has a voice, and where quiet courage saves lives. What's your story with a loyal companion? We'd love to hear it.